What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the second week of Ohara's Vibecode Camp. It's been fun. It's been exciting to really provide a lot of value to everyone that has been participating. So I'm super excited for week two. Last week we went over a tons of information. So if you missed out, make sure you join the camp. Make sure there's a lot of value in what I'm providing you guys, and this platform, as I mentioned last week, it is a creative studio for you guys to build on chain. So with that being said, we're going to now follow up from last week's session and really getting deeper into building good prompts. What does that look like when you're building good prompts, and how does it lean into user stories, and why is that important, especially when you're vibe coding with Modu. So I will talk about a little bit about user mapping and how to actually communicate with Modu, because I think it's super important when you're building your MVPs. So this week, we're focusing on MVPs. We're focusing on making sure you guys are sharing your builds in the communities, on X, on Farcaster. Like, we want you guys to be active. So with that being said, I will take a step back and go into a little bit of what we did last week, which was on Monday, of understanding what is a good prompt and what is a bad prompt, because this will lead into user stories and how to really build articulate and powerful user stories that Modu can understand and build you fast prototypes. So a good prompt looks like this: build an app that helps users who struggle with deciding what to cook based on available ingredients. Now, I mentioned last week that this could be a little bit better by really enhancing the prompt, and that looks like this: build an app that helps users who often want to cook but struggle with deciding what to make, especially when they have limited ingredients, time, or inspiration. So not only we're providing the problem, but we're also providing now the solution, right? And the solution is this app allows users to easily generate meal ideas based on what they already have available, reducing stress and saving time. So having this type of framework, this user story, a user story is, again, if you weren't there for the last week's session, user story is a really effective way to communicate with engineers on building out features. So when I was creating this method of like, how do I now build apps? Like, do I just tell it to build this app, right? I really had to like go back into my skill box and say, hey, treat AI as your engineer. How can you leverage user stories to continue to iterate and building your features versus just saying, hey, build a hamburger drop down menu? Okay, for what, right? It needs to be context when you're building. And this approach makes it a lot easier, more efficient, and you actually burn less through credits, believe it or not, because you're a lot more strategic with what you're building. I often see a lot of builders just build to just build without no actual like roadmap or framework. I truly do believe that having a product management framework really does help out a lot. You don't have to follow it to the T, but if you can take these little nuances and being able to have a conversation with Modu, it will really help out on your build to make it more efficient, more robust, more attractive, more users, more stickiness, right? Like, you want all of that to really encompass your app. So take a screenshot of this, take note of this, because we are going to be working on this live. So if you're on X right now, make sure you have a laptop with you, because we are going to be building live today. So make sure you go to on ohara.ai. Also, for the listeners here on the Meet, make sure you guys have ohara.ai set up, sign up, because we're going to be building today. We're going to be building the first I would say first version of your MVP. And if you're already building that MVP, great. We're going to be building on top of it even more. So cool things coming up. All righty. So product management methods plus vibe coding has been a huge unlock for me. It was one of those things, as I mentioned earlier, that it was an unlock in realizing, okay, there needs to be a better way to communicate. And in understanding a better way to communicate with the AI and treating AI as my engineer, I also learned that there's better prompts and actual rich features of the output, right? Because whatever you input into the AI, that's the output you're going to get, right? So if you say, build me an app that searches cabs, that's what you're going to get, right? Um, so always remember that your input is super, super important and crucial when you're building your build. Whether it's a, you know, whether it's a app to just play around with, or whether it's an app that you truly want to go to market with and you want the world to see this beautiful app that you have built, your input is important. And a lot of reasons why I really honed in on the product management method and being able to also combine that with vibe coding. And of course, if you're a creative being, that also helps out too a lot, because you can mash up all these skills and really create robust apps. So what do I use to build better prompts, right? Um, at first, when I first started vibe coding with Ohara, and I want to say this was like in April, I was using PRDs, and this was when Modu was not of existence. Modu was not born yet, and once Modu was born, it it almost like made PRDs obsolete for me, because once you have your user stories and you have what you want to build, it almost makes it like a lot easier to continue to iterate and continue to use user stories to really translate these human needs into like these development tasks, right? And you're not just saying, hey, build me an app, but you're painting the picture for Modu, which has made it a lot easier. But because it is a product management method, I still do believe in having a PRD for your own sanity, so you can just cross-reference your features list, your user stories, your problem that you're trying to solve, the solution, what APIs you're using. It's a good document to really have on your back end, so you can just always have it. And I also do believe that you can upload things to, yeah, you can upload things to Ohara. I have not tried to upload a PRD just to have it as a knowledge base, which I think it would be a good thing to test out. So I will be doing that actually, and testing out if I can upload a PRD and have Modu have it as like a knowledge base, because I think that would be pretty cool if I can do that. Because again, that's your requirement document and building out your builds. So we went over what user stories are, translating human needs into development tasks. But what does that really look like, right? Let's get into it a little bit deeper, right? So these are three different user stories, but these user stories have three different functions. So the first function is a basic ingredient search, right? Now you can technically, you can say, hey, Modu, build me a basic ingredient search. Okay. Now, in my head, as a builder, I'm always asking why, right? Why do we need that, right? As a busy college student, I want to enter a few ingredients I have at home so that I can find a quick recipe without needing to go shopping. That's my why, right? You want to really give it context, because the moment you paint the picture as to what exactly you want for that feature, any AI agent will understand, especially Modu, right? So really paint that picture, give it context. What are you really trying to build, right? So clearly we're giving a persona of who wants this feature. We want to also exemplify like what's the outcome, right? So the outcome is that they want to enter a few ingredients that they have at home, right? So they could find a quick recipe without needing to go shopping. That's their outcome, right? So think of it like this: when I go and click on a button on your app, what is my outcome? What is my goal that I'm trying to pursue when I click that button? Am I going to sign out? Am I going to log in? Am I going to enter a form? Like, right? Like, what is the outcome that you want for your users, right? And that's important when you're building out your user stories. Another use case, another feature is save favorite recipes, right? So again, we're given the persona. As a home cook, I want to save my favorite recipes in one place so that I can find them easily and cook them again, right? So what that tells me and what that tells the AI is that, well, this cook wants to save their recipes in a place where they can be discoverable, easy to find, and they can use these recipes again, right? Again, you're giving the persona and you're also giving the output that you want for that feature. So that feature is me being able to save the recipes as a home cook. Dietary filters. As a vegan user, again, we're providing the persona I want to filter recipes by dietary preference so that I only see meals that fit my lifestyle. Again, we're providing the user persona, and then we're providing the outcome that we want for that feature, right? So this person is a vegan user. They want to be able to filter recipes by dietary preference. So they only see meals that fit their lifestyle. And maybe this is an app that's connected to their workout app, right? Maybe some way, somehow this is connected to their lifestyle app, right? We don't know, but we know that that's the outcome that we want for this feature for whatever app you're building. And that's important because you need to be able to, again, map out that story. What are you trying to have the user do? And like, what is their outcome when they're on your platform? So this is a hands-on workshop, live and direct. I want you guys to go into Ohara.ai, and I want to see the weirdest, cool app within the next 15 to 20 minutes. I'm going to play a little bit of music. And based on what you guys just learned on user stories, and maybe I can probably, I want to see if there's a way that I can share the user stories. But if you are on X Live right now, take a picture of this, save it, right? Because I want this to be your template. And if not, I could probably send it to you on the side. But I want this to be a template for you to build, right? And this goes for also for the campers. If you're in camp right now, take a screenshot of this, take a picture of this, because this is your roadmap on how to really structure your user stories, persona, outcome, right? That's really the basis of it. And I want to have you guys build in real time right now to see who could build the weirdest but cool app in the next 15 to 20 minutes. Once you're done, I'll tell you guys pencils up and then ship it, share it, and let me know what you're building because I would love to see it. And maybe, you know, who knows, maybe get featured through Ohara. Who knows, right? But make sure that it's creative. Make sure it's weird. I don't know. You know, sometimes I know some, you know, some developers, they get in their head that needs to be perfect. No, it could be weird. It could be fun. I really want you guys to have fun with this. If you want to use this time to work on your MVPs, even better. But I want to see what you're building. Okay. So for the next 15, 20 minutes, use that structure of user stories to build something cool, share it, tag Ohara, tag me, be more than happy to repost it and give you guys some visibility, and we'll continue on with this workshop. So I'll play a little bit of music and have you guys build. Okay. I'll let you guys know when to start. Just give me a moment to set this up. And if you have any questions, thank you. If you have any questions, please feel free to put it in the chat. And we'll be more than happy to help you guys out because we want you to succeed. We want you guys to build like there's no tomorrow. All right, Slava, is there sound? Just let me know, Slava, there's sound or not. Oh, I'm good. I'm good. Okay, yes, awesome. All righty, it is, yeah, it's 1:23 now. I'm gonna circle back with you guys within the next 10 minutes just to see how you guys are doing. I'll probably check X just to see what's up, and then also check the campers here too as well. And then I'll give you like a last 5 to 10 minute countdown, and then share your build, tag me, and then we'll go from there. All right, guys. Sweet. BRB. Make sure you guys are building now. Don't cheat on me. And go. Let's build. I think that was enough time to get jiggy with some builds, huh? Some chill lo-fi. I'm not sure if you guys heard, but Lo-Fi Girl graduated, so I'm not sure they're gonna stop making videos or not. So I thought that was cool. But yeah, shout outs to lo-fi music. I think it's super essential, and vibe coding. I think that's what keeps me sane when I'm always vibe coding. So if you want the link to this mix, be more than happy to send it to you so you can vibe out. But it's neither here or there, guys. I have some builds that I want to share with you guys, and then we'll continue with the workshop. But first and foremost, I want to ask in the chat, what did you build? What exactly are you building? So I will first ask the campers to see what you guys got at the moment. And if you don't want to share, it's fine. I already have some builds here that I'm excited to share. But if you do have a build that you want to share, please feel free. So anyone in the chat right now, raise your hand and I'll be more than happy to, I guess, share your build. Just send me the link of your build and I'll share it, or I'll screen share it, I should say. So yeah, anyone. If not, that's cool. And if it's not ready, that's also cool. Just need a little thumbs up, thumbs down, what's going on, or in the chat, just to make sure that you're with me here, all right? Okay, someone is waiting on Modu. All good. So I do have some builds lined up already. So as you guys, I know probably Modu is like wrapping up. He's cooking. Modu is cooking. So let Modu cook. It's all good. I will share some builds that I have seen thus far, and I'm actually pretty impressed. So I'm actually going to start with. These are good. Now let's start with this one first because honestly, I had this idea. Okay, all good, man. I had this idea. I just never really went through with it. And I think this is a dope idea. So the first build I'm going to be sharing, it is this build. Ryan, I believe this is your build. Super dope. I love the whole aspect of being able to token gate a chat. I think it's super, super, super dope. I've always had this idea of like, what if there is a token gated chat and like all the revenue goes to like, let's say if it's like a group chat for let's say hello world, right? And like you're paying in to get into this chat, and then like some of the revenue cost goes into like hello world as like a portion of like us buying together as a collective. I always thought that would be cool because I feel like with Telegram, it just stays in Telegram and there's no really like activation per se. But it'd be really dope for those who are invested into like these different communities. So this is a really dope build. I am going to play around with it in real time. I don't know how I got a not to say I don't know how that $1.57 got there. Ryan, you got something to say, man? Hey, this is your build, so you are more than happy to speak on your build. What's going on, my man?
Yeah, hey, thanks. I appreciate that. I just wanted to shout out the fact that it may not let you create a room. So this is actually great because this will stress test. I haven't tried creating a room from an account that doesn't have the necessary requirements, right? And so basically, that's only part of the current issue with this build. That I'm trying to redeploy or publish the newest iteration of that solves that problem entirely. But the long and short of it is, you have to be a holder of a token in order to join a room. Okay, but you don't have to pay any tokens to join a room or chat. You only
Nice.
pay tokens. You only pay tokens if you want to do something that is token gated, like sending links, like sending images, like things that like tagging all users, things that are not necessarily good or bad to have, but things that you want to consider making it cost money for, so that way there's a reason. If somebody wants to do it, they have to really be incentivized to use that function.
Yeah.
But it's fully granular, so like you can turn off the functions entirely, so people just can't do those things at all. You can switch them to free, so that way they're not costing anything. And the split, I actually upgraded the splits contract for this a couple of days ago, and that's another part of the problem is it's showing a 50 25 25 split when it should be a four-way split. But anyway, yeah. So if you want to go ahead and just try creating a soapbox and see what happens.
Awesome. Yeah, absolutely, man. This is dope. And I guess just out of curiosity, because I want to have the users who are watching right now and the participants, like I want to understand more of your thought process as to why you created this, right? Because I think in understanding why you're creating something also turns into a really dope app, right? So I'm pretty sure this came from a necessity or a problem that you saw. So would you like to just like talk a little bit about your thought process as to why you created this?
Yeah, so there's a couple of things that I wanted to really hone in on with this. One is that right now, as it stands, there is no just like standalone chat client that is not unique to a Farcaster client. Okay,
Right.
so as far as mini apps go, if you have a community that you're a part of right now that exists on the base app or exists on the Farcaster app, those are separate chats that the information doesn't sync between or persist in any way to. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So with Soapbox, it being a mini app, it's going to persist chats between both, both Farcaster options right now. And well, not right now, but yeah, the point is the end build, once published, will be able to facilitate that experience. In addition to that, it's only token gated by by the ability to input a vault address. Okay, so
Mm,
if you were to click on the option to create an Empire room, one of the variables it's going to ask you for is your Empire vault address. Okay, now not everybody has one of those. However, when it comes to availability for a person to at no cost, at no charge to them at all. Once the next build is published, a person who does not currently have an Empire Vault, okay, which is a vault that distributes to a community of up to the top 250 holders of a token, okay. That token has to be a clanker, okay.
okay.
So bringing it full circle, the ability for the user who doesn't have any tokens, but they've got a community, right? They can, if so chose to do, they can come onto a Soapbox. They can launch a Clanker token, or they can go straight to Clanker and do it there. Either way, the option is there. Which when they do that, they'll have the opportunity to set up a vault as a part of that, or they can separately set up a vault through the Empire Vaults, which is where my vault is set up. And so, long story short, none of these things cost any money. The vault is only able to be used to distribute against the community of your holders. And it's something that, leverages encryption through XMTP and, is intended to be something that is setting a precedent for the importance of community and establishing that across different fronts, unifying that.
Gotcha. Yeah, this is a really, really well thought out app. And kudos to you, Ryan, for really thinking through the intricacies on how to really build an on-chain environment for chats. I think that's a really well thought out. And that's the type of mind frame that I want you to have with all the builders. Like all the builders, I want you to have this type of like mindset of like, how can I make this powerful yet more on chain, right? Like you're taking all these different like intricacies, right? And you're adding these different APIs and you're getting creative with it, but you also are solving a problem, right? And I think this is a really cool way to have community kind of gather together, Ryan. So this is really well thought out. Kudos to you, man.
Hey, thank you. One last thing I just want to mention is that I'm editing a 3-minute video down to be a lot shorter so I can share it
Yeah.
because as a person who both has the token and the vault, I can show a deeper dive into what a person can currently see, and so the the end goal being that when a person loads the mini app in, whether they're a holder or not, they see, hence the name Soapbox, they see whatever the builder sets as their Soapbox message on the landing screen. So like every build that has a Soapbox can basically advertise for themselves on the landing screen of the Soapbox page. And that's it.
Nice, nice, nice. We'd love to see the video, man. Yeah, feel free to tag me. We'd love to reshare, man. Because I think this is I've always wanted to build this, but you hit it right on the nail. You really executed the idea, and this is really really dope, man. Shout out to you. Um, yeah, if anyone is wondering what the app name is, it's called Soapbox. I will put it in the X Live currently. It feels weird calling it X. I know it's Twitter Live, but um, I'll put it out on Twitter Live for you guys to play around with it and reach out to Ryan, man. He's a true builder. This is like the second build I've seen of you. I'm definitely going to check out your profile just to see what other builds you have. But cool stuff. Next build I'm going to be showing, and I didn't get a chance to really thoroughly explore because I got caught up with Soapbox because I just thought it was really dope. Nope, that's the same one. Give me 1 second. I think it's this one. Yeah, let me just make sure. There we go. Toshi rug pull detector. I don't think I have a name for this one. Who created it? But this was one from the contest. I think this is really cool. Any wallet address, token name, or crypto project for Toshi's brutally honest analysis. I'm really intrigued just to see like what it would say. Let me see. Let's see what's the vibes. Moon. So wait, so if I'm gonna moon, okay. Toshi says that this is more this is more solid than base infrastructure. That's saying something. Okay, cool. This is dope. This is dope. This is a really fun, interactive way to just really get some I guess some memetics on chain. So this is dope. This is dope. Whoever built this. This is Toshi's rug pull detector. So if you want to just have a little fun online, check it out. Cool app. Sweet. If there is any other apps before we get into the workshop, we'll love to go ahead and share that. I'm not sure if I'm saying your name right, but Karam, is Modu still cooking or what? If not, we could probably save it for the end, and I'll share your build. Just put it in the chat once it's done, and I'll share it. If that's cool with you. But if not, we are going to continue with our workshop. So sweet. We got the understanding of user stories, right? But let's get a little bit deeper on user stories, right? Because the way that Modu understands user stories is persona development. Persona development that actually helps Modu understand what you're trying to build, right? So persona development does not mean Sarah, who is 25 years old, is a marketing manager and likes yoga. That is not the type of persona we're looking for. We want to understand from a project perspective or an app perspective, what is this user like, right? So it could look something like this. Sarah, the sprint juggler. So that tells me already that she handles a lot of tasks, manages 5 campaigns simultaneously, checks metrics obsessively, between meetings and needs insight that load in under 3 seconds because she's always context switching. Right? That tells me a lot about this persona, right? It tells me a lot about how we're going to build for this person, right? Remember, when you're building, sometimes, yes, I do understand that when we build, it comes out of our own necessity. But when you're trying to scale an app, you also have to put your product manager hat on and say, okay, I'm not only building for myself, but I'm also building for Sarah. I'm also building for Addy. I'm also building for Michelle. So you also have to understand different personas that are going to be coming onto your platform, right? So if the platform, what it looks like here, it may be a productivity platform, right? We want to be able to have these insights load as quickly as possible if you're a sprint juggler, right? So that's what I mean about building that persona for the users, right? And how it connects to Modu, right? I truly do believe that the more of a rich persona you provide Modu, the better AI understands of like the context and priorities of what it needs to build, right? You want to make sure that you're giving it context, always context. Don't give it fluff, give it context, make it rich, right? Because I think that's what's going to be one of those things where it's going to help you not have a headache when you need to add all these different features at the very end. And then now you're just feature creeping. And if you don't know what feature creeping is, it's just more or less saying, hey, I forgot this one app. I mean, this one feature, can you add it to here as well? But sometimes that throws off your flow. It throws off your vibe coding sessions, and which could honestly create more bugs for you. I've experienced it. And I've learned from my own lessons that it's just best to really structure what you want to build out and then go into it with a plan. Just because things become a lot smoother. You're not worrying about bugs and having the AI confused all of a sudden if you want to add more features. So take this into consideration when you're building your apps, your mini apps. What persona do you want to build for, right? Is it the DGen? What about the DGen, right? Do they want a quick flip? Do they want more insights? What do they want, right? Make sure you're building that persona so when you talk to Modu and you're building out your idea, Modu understands how to build your app. So here's a transformation of a traditional user story, right? Traditionally, when we speak on like just user stories with engineers, it's usually like this. As a mobile user, I want to be able to view my account balance so that I can make informed decisions. And that's that. That's usually the traditional way. But what I like to coin is more of a vibe enhanced user story where the AI understands what exactly you need, because not only you're talking to what I say like an AI engineer, but you're also talking to an AI CTO, but you're also talking to a platform. So how do we enhance that so it really paints the picture and understands what you're trying to build? So this vibe enhanced user story looks like this. As a mobile user checking my balance on the go, I want to quickly see my financial status in a way that feels reassuring and clear so I can make confident decisions without the anxiety of information overload, right? So it tells me that one, it needs to be clean. It cannot be overwhelming with information about my bank account. It gives a picture of if I'm going to be using this app, it has to be on the go, right? You're really setting the scenario of this persona and who this person is. And I think that's very important whenever you're building, because again, it really paints the picture as to the who and the what and the where, and you're able to get a better result with your build. Take a screenshot of this, take a picture, because the vibe enhanced user story has worked for me tremendously. I think it's one of the reasons why I have like 44 apps on Ohara, only on Ohara. So imagine anywhere else where I've been building. So definitely take a screenshot of this because this is very helpful. So let's get into it deeper, right? I mentioned user stories, but there's advanced user story techniques, right? And something that I mentioned earlier is more or less like how do you map that story, right? And it's really arranging those stories in your user journey in order. So whether it's from the very beginning when you're starting on your app, or breaking these large features into smaller stories, right? I always do believe that the more you provide to AI, sometimes the more it like overwhelms itself and like trips out and hallucinates. I think being able to break this down into smaller stories, it would help Modu understand what you're trying to build. So story map it, right? Arrange the stories in the user journey that you want the users to follow, right? And put it in well, an epics is just more or less saying like put it in order, right? Put it in a way where it's first the user signs in and then second the user, right? Like try to paint that picture for your not only for yourself but also for the AI so they understand exactly how the flow should be, right? And then once you have these like sections portioned of your user stories, really research of what the stories are, right? Whether they're technical stories, whether they're user stories. And when I mean technical stories, what I mean is just like the infrastructure that is needed to be used on the app, right? So in this scenario, it's just more or less Ohara connections, right? What is that user story on what you're going to build from a technical standpoint, right? Are you going to be using XMTP? Are you going to be using on-chain Kit? Are you going to be using OpenAI, right? Paint that into the picture because that allows Modu to understand a little bit more as to what are the nuances and the order of flow. And with Modu, these advanced techniques, it really does help out to build out these robust applications. But I think the cool thing about Modu is that also Modu also understands nuances and understands where you're trying to go with things. But I think if you're able to really provide a perfect, and I want to say perfect, but just a clear direction as to what you want to build, Modu will go ahead and cook and really build a cool app. So definitely keep this in mind. I think the most important thing about this is just more or less story mapping. What is the beginning of the story and what is the end of the story? I think that's honestly what has helped me really understand and build effectively. So what does a perfect Modu conversation looks like? What does that flow look like, right? Before I was not having conversations with Modu, I was having conversations with myself and my own sanity because sometimes there would be situations where like I would have a bug and I just don't know what to do, right? And I'll probably reach out to Slava or I will use AI. But now that you have Modu, you have your companion in real time to build, right? So what does a perfect conversation look like with Modu, right? I truly do believe that first and foremost, you have to set the scene. Paint the picture, as I mentioned earlier, right? What are you building? You're building an MVP. Okay, for who, right? For people who struggle with a specific problem, right? And then share this core story, right? Your main user story with rich context. What does that look like? And that's the persona development, right? And then define what is the success? What is the outcome, right? Users will know this works when they can X, Y, and Z, which is the outcome, right? In under how many minutes? And granted, it doesn't have to have a time limit per se, but this is just an example, right? Whatever you want that to be, the success of it, it is up to you to build that out, right? And then clarify what are the boundaries, what exactly you're not really too worried about, because sometimes AI does go ahead and have a mind of its own and say, hey, like I would just want to build this, right? Like maybe you should give it boundaries, right? Give it context as to what you do want and what you don't want, right? So maybe provide features that you want excluded, or maybe you want to keep for version 2, but make sure that you clarify like, hey, I do not want on-chain Kit just yet, or I do not want OpenAI for this. Make sure you're explicitly saying that because sometimes it will just say, hey, I think you should just integrate this, right? Now, if you're certain about your build, then yeah, clarify those boundaries because that's important. And you're giving Modu a clear direction as to what you're building. And then, of course, last but not least, the technical preferences. This is more or less like what connections do you want to use now at this point, right? If you know already, then cool. If you don't know, I think that's where Modu comes in and he will help you out in whatever way possible on how to use the connections for your build. But if you already know the technical preferences or the connections you wanted to integrate on your app, feel free to list them out. Start with 3 to 5. I'd say 3, because adding all of those APIs all at once, you can run into some errors. So I always say slow and steady wins the race. Don't try to be the super vibe coder who wants to add 5 APIs and want to ship it all in one day. It takes time. You have to test, you have to iterate, you have to get feedback, see if it works. Because at the end of the day, I don't want you to waste your time on your build if no one is going to use it and if it doesn't work. So this is the framework for how I like to start my conversation with Modu, just because it's very effective. It sets the picture, sets the tone as to where I'm going now next with my user stories. So these are some more advanced Modu collaborations and techniques. Um, I would say that this is more if you have already, if you're coming within this with like a mindset of like, hey, I know what I'm building, I know what to do, right? Like this is where you already have a stage approach. Maybe you can start with some wireframes and mockups in the conversations. Maybe just building a core functionality first and then add a polish edge cases. So edge cases, for those who don't know, are situations that occur in extreme boundaries of a system. So the expected input or output in the operating conditions. So it could be errors or codes. So it really, whoopsies. It really does depend on what the edge case is. Some examples are like very large or very small input values or input with special characters of unusual formatting, scenarios where users switch between apps or interrupt and loading sequences, right? Like these are all things that happen when you're building. Now, while they are important, just briefly, just the robustness of your app, testing for edge cases can make your software or your app more resilient, being more reliable by addressing these edge cases, security as well. I think one of the biggest things about vibe coding overall is just having like the API keys in the front end rather than on the back end or on a database, or just making sure that, security is perfect to the T. Good thing is that, the third web handles a lot of the smart contracts, so you don't really have to worry too much about it, but testing is important. Make sure you're testing, because you want to make sure that your community is safe. And then just user experience, making sure that it's handling edge cases gratefully to prevent just any errors or frustrating things that may happen or that may come up. And granted, it will come up. It's just more or less like, how are you going to go about it and making sure that it doesn't happen again? Um, the documentation method, I think that really ties into the PRD, product requirement document. I think it's important. So just being able to share your user stories as you write them, and then seeing if Modu can provide some technical approaches on how to go about it. And then using Modu as your debug partner. Like Modu is going to be there to help you to debug at all times. So share whatever messages you're getting, share any errors that you're getting with context, of course, right? Just don't say, hey, I'm getting this error, right? Like what type of error? What is the flow? Paint the picture. Use a user story to really paint that error. And then Modu will help you troubleshoot and learn while you build. I think it's a learning experience too when you're building with Modu, and I think it's a wonderful thing to have as a companion when you're building with AI. So some of the iteration patterns that work and I've tested, especially with Modu, is sharing your user story, build that minimal version quickly, test it with real users, even if it's just friends, document your learnings, document what's going on, right? And then write updated user stories, right? Based on that feedback, and then rinse and repeat, right? And just do it again until you have this final working app that you can share to the masses. This is more or less to the build, test, learn loop, where you're building, you're testing, you're learning all at the same time, but you're gathering those learnings into the build and you're testing in real time. So make sure you use this framework when you're building out your MVPs this week, because that's going to be very helpful for you. Continue vibe coding. I thought that was the next slide, but I want to allot another 5 to 10 minutes. I would say 5 minutes because we spent about 20 minutes building. I want to give you guys another 5 minutes just to like continue building on what you were just building earlier today. And then hopefully we can see some builds. If not, cool. But I want to allot another 5 minutes so you guys can continue building, Again, we'll love to see what you guys are doing, and I would love to share with the masses. And we'll probably finish up the end portion of this workshop. So again, I'll play a little bit of music. Um, make sure your guys are sharing it with your buddies, putting it into the Discord if you're in the camp, and just getting that feedback, because that feedback will save you some time, save you some headaches, and that's that. So bear with you one moment. All right. It is 2:10. I'll go ahead and stop this at 2:15. Go ahead and build. Continue building until 2:15, and I'll come right back. All right. Hopefully you guys were able to build just a little bit more. 5 minutes is not enough. I know, I get it. But it's just more or less to get you in that rhythm of just building and just build. Get you in that framework of just getting in the vibe. All right. Your mission this week. This is your mission. Your mission is to build your MVP. And if you haven't done so already, get to it. Build your MVP and then share your MVP on X and Discord. Again, it feels so weird to saying X. I know it's Twitter. I know. But share your MVP on Twitter and on Discord. A bonus, the weirdest or most creative MVP gets a little cool shout out. We'll test it out. I'll be more than happy to test it out if you send it to me first and give you some feedback before you put it out there in the world. And then, I just want you to just share your work, right? I want eyes on your build. I want people to get excited for when the build is done at the end of these next 2 weeks, 3 weeks, I should say, or however much time is left at the end of this camp. To really get those eyes and then just really hype it up, right? Because once it's done, people will want to go ahead and use it, right? So build that hype, right, from the very beginning. So build it, share it, tag us, add it to the Discord again, and just let us know what you're building. I'd love to know what you're building. So maybe this could be a perfect way to work on your pitch too. Like pitch me what you're building too as well. So don't just post it. Leverage the recording tool that Ohara has, right? That's just dope, right? You can record your build, give us like a quick 30-second spiel via text. I'm not sure if you can do voice just yet on the recording. But just text it or not text it, but just write it out and give us a 30-second spiel of like what you're building, why you're building it, and we'll retweet it and show love. A bonus, whoever gets the weirdest and most creative MVP gets a cool shout out again. So that's your mission this week, right? Take all this knowledge that you learned for the past 4 classes and then now add it to your MVP. Okay. My homework, my mission is to send you the decks. I know you guys are probably like, where's the deck? Where's the deck? I'll send those decks out as soon as this session is over. I'll send that out ASAP because I know you guys need that as reference as you're building out your builds. And that is that, chat. That is all I got for today. Wednesday, we're going to be going over just prototype to production. What does that look like? How are we validating? What are you doing to just audit, your app? And what are we doing as an iteration loop to continuously make our app better? So that's what we're going over on Wednesday. So stay tuned for that. As always, it has been the ultimate pleasure to be here with you guys for this camp. My name is Sir Stacks, and I'm out. If you guys have any questions, concerns, discrepancies, make sure you guys go ahead and DM me on Sir Stacks, SERSTAXX on X. I am also in the Discord chat too. I also have some open hours where I'm happy to just chat with you and just kind of go over your build. Again, I am here as a guidance, so please feel free to just use me as a soundboard and just use me to test things out. I love to test out products, so that's my jam. One of the reasons why I got into Vibecoding, because I just love to test out product. So Happy Monday, guys. Happy building. And let me see those MVPs. Cheers.